Welcome back to another episode of Not Another Cooking School, the home school for home cooks. I just came up with that. Now, a lot of you are confused about the difference between this show, Not Another Cooking Show, and Not Another Cooking School, the community of home cooks I'm building on Patreon. I put together this little taste of what you can expect when you become a member. If you're curious, the link's down in the description. Enjoy. Today, we're gonna be tackling a God-level pasta, Cacio e Pepe, something that has historically tripped people up. Like the pastas we've made so far, an incredibly simplistic dish when it comes to ingredients. It's pepper, cheese, and pasta. But don't let that simplicity fool you. You can't screw this up quite easily, and today we're gonna try and show you how to prevent that. First thing we need to talk about is cheese. Now, I don't feel well. I'm not gonna go great fresh from a brick. I've shown you how to do that plenty of times, and my favorite supermarket, my DiCecco and Sons supermarket, they grade all of their imported Italian cheeses fresh in store, so I can trust that. And now Cacio e Pepe is a Roman pasta, and Roman cheese is Pecorino Romano. It's a sharper, saltier cheese. And you can only use Pecorino, but I found the best places make theirs with a blend of Pecorino and Parmigiano Reggiano. So first up, we're just gonna make up our little cheese blend. Now again, if you don't have a place that does it fresh, you're really gonna want to get a block and grate it yourself. If you get like a branded, pre-grated Parmesan, there's lots of caking agents and stuff like that that are gonna screw up that creaminess you're looking for at the end. So for here, what I'm basically gonna do is use a handful and measure 3 parts Pecorino to 1 part, shit. That's the Parmesan. Three parts of the Pecorino to 1 part Parmigiano. And you can kind of play around with whatever blend you like best. Give it a little mix. Should be a bit more of a balanced cheese blend. Next up, we've got peppercorn. Now, you can just grate it up, right? But the real way to get that real strong essence of black pepper that is iconic in this dish, we're gonna start from whole. All I'm really gonna do is get the pan that I'm gonna be cooking my pasta in. I'm gonna get it nice and hot. And once it's hot, we're just gonna add in, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon. And we wanna toast them. It's gonna wake up all that flavor. It's kind of been sleeping in that jar on the shelf at the store. And that heat just sort of wakes it all up. You should start to begin to get an aroma coming off of the peppercorns. Should only take a few minutes, and then we can go ahead and add them to a mortar and pestle. But this is nice to kind of just bang out real quickly. First, I want to kind of come in the top and just sort of crack them, right? Just break that exterior shell. And then I'm going to start to use a twisting motion and just grind those peppercorns up against the wall until it's like a fine but still coarse grind. If you don't have one of these, just throw those into a towel and just beat the hell out of it with like a meat mallet or a pan. And just get it into a little bowl. You're gonna have some nice fragrant black pepper. Not too fine, not too coarse. Now we got our cheese and our pepper, our cacio e pepe. Cacio pepe. Now we need our pasta. And again, we're using spaghetti. To me, it's really the classic for cacio e pepe. And again, we want to focus, just like we did with aglio e olio, a really starchy brand of pasta. This Rusticella di Bruzza, it's got that real coarse texture, and you can see all this flour, right? When you just bang it on it, you got flour coming directly from the pasta. That starchiness is what we're gonna need to turn the pasta water and the cheese into the creamy heaven that is this pasta. Now, to do this well, I want you to think about 3 things. You need to balance the amount of water you add, the amount of cheese you add, and the temperature in which you combine them all. We're gonna make sure that when we go to add our cheese, the pasta is no hotter than like 155 degrees. We add the right amount of water and cheese at that right temperature, and you use the right cheese, not something that has caking agent in it, you're going to achieve what you want from this pasta. Our water's boiling. I'm gonna season it, right? But not crazy. I don't want it salt watery because we got salty cheese. If you go crazy on the salt, it's gonna be too much when you eat the pasta. Just a little bit of salt. And our pan over here is still hot, and I'm not gonna add any more heat to that pan. I'm gonna use the residual heat from it and the heat from the pasta water to create all the heat that we need to make this dish happen. So in with our pasta. Again, we're using a small pot because we want that concentration of starch that we talked about in the last episode. And if the water is properly boiling, it should all just kind of bend into the water. Now what do we got here? 9 to 11 minutes to al dente. Now, in the last video, we took the pasta out in advance. We let it cook into the sauce. We don't wanna add heat to this sauce, right? So we're not gonna take it out early. We're gonna pull it out of the water when it's perfectly al dente, ready to eat. And we're gonna make this sauce come together in seconds. I'm just gonna set a timer for like 9 minutes. While that happens, we can take some of our black pepper. We're gonna hit some in the pan. Once we've developed some starchiness in the pasta water, we're gonna turn that into like a pepper broth. Then we're gonna add the pasta and then the cheese. Another important thing is the plate. This plate's out of my cabinet, got the air conditioning on, it's cold. So if I plate that hot cheese, it's gonna seize immediately. So we're just gonna place our plate behind the stove and let that warm up. You could zap it in the microwave, put it in a very, very low oven. All those work. Not much to do while the pasta cooks. It's really just waiting for it to get done and it all comes together. Now we got that starch, it's about halfway cooked. We got those starchiness in the water going. I'm gonna add about a cup of that or a ladle. Use that to keep that pan nice and warm. Some people will cook that down and reduce it. I've done that. I don't find it necessary. I think just using it as sort of like a tea does the same thing. Now, one thing to note here is say you had too much water and too little cheese. You're gonna get a runny, kind of watery cheese sauce. If you've got too little liquid and too much cheese, it's gonna be clumpy and not creamy and smooth. So if you know those things, once the pasta hits that pan, you know how to balance it. And if you got one of these or a thermometer, right now, saying it's around 140, a perfect temperature to combine all ingredients. So a few minutes left on the pasta. Let's give it a check. It's almost there. I give it another 30 seconds. Okay, I think we're good. We're gonna bring the pasta over. I'm gonna start transferring the pasta into our pepper broth. Now, in case I need more water, it's gonna be right there. We're literally at 150. That's good because you still wanna serve a hot pasta, right? You don't want it to get too cold. So what we're gonna do now, start to work in 1 to 2 handfuls of that cheese sauce and then start beating like crazy. You see that? Out of balance, right? Too much water. So what do? More cheese. Still a little watery. What do? More cheese. I used a little less pasta, so maybe I would start with a half of a ladleful of water. That's what you want to hear. Could still use a little more cheese. So see, I just mis-eyeballed it, threw it out of whack, but I'm just gonna fix it. See that? Noodles are coated. It's not swimming in sauce, but it's in a good amount of it. It's creamy. That's what you want out of Cacio e Pepe. Now let's serve it. I don't know about you, but I like lots of sauce, right? Just like aglio e olio, we're gonna grab the pasta, tilt the pan, and just start twirling. Twirling it up on your fork right in that sauce so it picks it all up and gets it all entwined in each layer of noodle. Then we take our sauce. Look at that. A little more cheese. A little more black pepper. Now to me, it's pretty obvious because I've dealt with this a bunch, like where the pitfalls are on this. It comes down to quantity of water, quantity of cheese, temperature it's mixed at. If you just understand that, I think this is gonna be a successful lesson. Now from here on out, I go on to assign homework. My students go, they make it at home, they document it, they load it up in a chat. My team compiles it all. We meet on a live stream and go over each other's work. Try to fix problems, learn from each other, and it helps me spot common issues that help me become a better teacher on this show. And of course, you get direct access to me. Plus all of my YouTube videos early and ad-free, because I know you all hate those ads. It's really fun, extremely valuable, and most importantly, deeply interactive. Would love for you to be a part of it. If you're curious, links down in the description. That's all that I have today. I'll see you next time. Until then, take care of yourself and go feed yourself.